Slow down for a moment, my love. Not for the world, not for anyone waiting outside your door, not for the responsibilities that have learned your name too well, just for this breath. Come closer to yourself. There is something I need you to feel before you understand it, because your mind has been asked to carry too much, and your heart has been asked to survive too quietly. You have spent so many years being strong that sometimes even softness feels unfamiliar, almost like a language you once knew as a girl, but forgot because life kept interrupting you before you could finish the sentence. And yet here you are, still listening, still hoping, even if you do not call it hope anymore. Maybe you call it patience. Maybe you call it silence. Maybe you call it being realistic. Maybe you tell yourself that you have accepted life as it is, that you no longer wait for anything magical, that you are past is the age of being surprised by love, by tenderness, by someone noticing the trembling places you hide so well. But I know better. There is a small room inside you that has never stopped waiting, not loudly, not desperately, not in a way anyone could easily see. It waits like dusk slipping through window blinds, quietly touching the floor after a long day. It waits like a teacup held between two tired hands, trembling just enough to reveal what the face refuses to confess. It waits like footsteps against cold tile in an empty hallway, moving forward because stopping would make the silence too honest. You have lived many lives inside one life. You have been the woman who gave more than she received, the woman who understood others while no one truly understood her. The woman who smiled because it was easier than explaining the ache. The woman who stayed composed when something inside her wanted to fall apart. The woman who learned to become her own shelter, even when she secretly wished someone would arrive and say, without asking for proof, I see you. Stay a moment more. There's something waiting here for you, not a promise made carelessly, not a promise, not a fantasy painted over pain, something quieter, something deeper, something that has been moving toward you through all the years you thought were only taking from you. You may think your story has been random, chain of losses, wrong timing, almost love, unfinished goodbyes, people who came close enough to awaken something sacred in you, but not strong enough to stay. You may look back and wonder why certain doors opened only to close against your chest. Why your tenderness was as placed in hands that did not know how to hold it. Why your loyalty was tested by people who treated devotion as something ordinary. But your soul knows there was meaning even in the parts your heart still cannot fully bless. Nothing that shaped your depth was wasted. The nights you cried without making a sound did not disappear. The mornings you rose with a tired face and a brave spirit were not unseen. The love you gave, even when it returned as absence, did not make you foolish. The years you spent becoming wise through pain did not make you less worthy of joy. They prepared your eyes to recognize what is real, that is a part you forget. You did not become difficult to love. You became harder to deceive. You did not become too much. You became too deep for shallow hands. You did not lose your softness. You hid it somewhere sacred because the world kept reaching for it without reverence. And now, maybe as these words find you, something inside you is becoming still, not because everything is solved, not because the past no longer hurts, but because for the first time in a long time, your soul feels spoken to without needing to perform. I know there are memories you do not visit often, not because you forgot them, because they still know exactly where to touch you. There are rooms inside your mind where certain moments remain unchanged. A chair near a window, a message never answered, a silence after a goodbye, a season when you believed love would become safer, and instead it became another place where you had to learn survival. And maybe the world moved on. Maybe the people involved moved on. Maybe time placed dust over the edges and called it healing. But, healing is not always forgetting. Sometimes healing is being able to remember without abandoning yourself again. You have abandoned yourself too many times for the sake of keeping peace. You swallowed words to protect someone else's comfort. You minimized your pain because you did not want to seem heavy. You accepted less than your heart deserved because part of you believed love had to be earned through endurance. You became fluent in waiting, waiting for clarity, waiting for tenderness, waiting for someone to choose you without making you beg emotionally. And in that waiting, something precious became tired, but not dead. No, my love, not dead. There is still a glow in you. It may be hidden beneath disappointment. It may be covered by years of responsibility. It may not shine the way it once did, quick and bright and trusting, but it is there. A slow ember, sacred warmth, quiet light that survived every winter you thought would empty you. That light is why you are here. That light is why these words feel strangely personal, because your soul has been calling you back, not to the woman you used to be. She was beautiful, yes, but she did not know what you know now. She did not have your depth. She did not have your discernment. She did not have the sacred authority that only comes from have walked through emotional fire and still refusing to become cruel. You are not meant to return to who you were. You are meant to meet who you have become. And I know that frightens you a little because the woman you have become no longer wants half love. She no longer wants to shrink her truth to fit inside someone else's limitations. She no longer wants to explain why consistency matters, why gentleness matters, why presence matters, why being chosen openly matters. She wants a love that does not make her feel like she is standing outside a locked door, listening for footsteps that may never come. She wants warmth without confusion. She wants peace without emotional starvation. Uh, she wants to be held in a way that does not make her question whether she is asking for too much. And she is right to want that. You are right to want that. There's there's nothing childish about wanting to be loved with care. There's nothing weak about longing for someone who can meet your depth without fearing it. There is nothing foolish about believing that tenderness can still arrive after years of disappointment. Somewhere along the way, you may have started believing that the special things happen for other women, Um, Women with easier lives, women with lighter hearts, women who were chosen earlier, women who did not have to rebuild themselves quietly behind closed doors. But destiny does not measure you by how untouched you are. Destiny recognizes what you survived without letting your soul turn to stone. And that is why something beautiful can still find you, not because you are waiting perfectly. Not because you have healed every wound. Not because you never feel lonely. But because you are still capable, of receiving, beauty, even after life gave you reasons to close. That is rare. That is sacred. And maybe this is why I am speaking to you now like this, slowly, carefully, as if placing a hand near the doorway of your heart and not forcing it open, because real love does not invade. Real love does not rush into the rooms where you have kept your pain. Real love stands there with quiet respect and lets you know, I am not here to take from you. I am here to understand why you had to protect yourself. There's something special being prepared. Maybe not in the way your mind imagines. Maybe not with loud signs or dramatic entrances. Maybe it begins inside you first as a soft return to your own worth. Maybe it begins when you stop treating your longing like a weakness. Maybe it begins when you finally admit that you still want to be cherished, not managed, not tolerated, not visited only when someone feels empty. Cherished. The word itself may ache because a part of you remembers what it felt like to give that kind of love. Um, you gave it in small details, in patience, in forgiveness, in noticing, in the way you remembered what others forgot, in the way you stayed emotionally present, even when you were tired, in the way you made room for people who did not always make room for you. And now life is asking you to believe that care can return to you, not as repayment, as alignment, not as pity, as a wreck rescue, as sacred meeting. Stay a moment more. Let this truth sit beside you like evening light. You are not invisible. You may have been overlooked by distracted hearts, but you were never unseen, by destiny. You may have been underestimated by people who only knew how to measure youth, noise, and surface beauty, but your soul carries a richness that cannot be rushed, copied, or replaced. You are the kind of woman a shallow world notices late. But what is meant for you does not arrive late. It arrives when you are finally ready to receive without losing yourself. So breathe. Let the old hallway inside you become less cold. Let the empty rooms open their windows. Let the trembling teacup rest. Let the voice you never heard saying, stay, stay, become the voice you now offer yourself. Stay with your heart. Stay with your becoming. Stay with the possibility that love has not forgotten your name. I am here. You are not walking alone. Something beautiful is on its way. Come closer, to the place in you that still remembers, not because I want to reopen, what once hurt you, but because some doors inside the soul do not ask to be broken down. They ask to be approached with gentleness, with a tenderness, patient enough to stand before the silence and be believed at last. You have carried certain memories as if They were folded letters hidden at the back of a drawer, too sacred to throw away, too painful to read, too familiar to forget. You cooked meals, answered calls, paid bills, smiled in rooms where no one knew how heavy your chest felt, and kept living because life does not pause just because a woman's heart has been disappointed. But inside, beneath the ordinary rhythm of days, there were moments when something small brought it all back. Dusk falling through window blinds, footsteps against tile, a cup trembling in your own hands after you had been strong for too long. It was never only the person you lost. It was the version of you who believed so completely, the innocence that entered love barefoot, carrying no armor, thinking honesty would be enough to keep another heart near. I know you do not speak often about the cost of loving the wrong way or loving the right way in the wrong place. You learned early that people become uncomfortable when pain lasts longer than they expect. So you became careful. You offered the short version of your sadness. You made your voice steady. You said, you were fine before you had permission to be anything else. But the soul does not heal because the mouth becomes disciplined. The soul heals when it is finally allowed to tell the truth without being rushed toward gratitude. And the truth is this: something in you was left waiting in an empty room long after the other person had already gone. You waited for an explanation that never arrived with enough warmth. You waited for tenderness that would have made the ending less cruel. You waited for someone to look back and understand what they had mishandled. And when that did not happen, you did what women like you often do. You gathered the broken pieces quietly, swept the floor before anyone noticed, and became more graceful, more useful, more composed. But composure is not the same as peace, my love. Sometimes it is only pain standing very still. Stay a moment more, because I want you to see something you may have never been told with enough softness. The ache that remained was not proof that you were weak, obsessive, foolish, or trapped in the past. It was proof that your love had entered a place that mattered. Your heart does not attach lightly. Your devotion is not casual. When you care, something ancient in you steps forward, something loyal, prayerful, almost holy. That is why betrayal, absence, neglect, or emotional uncertainty did not simply disappoint you. It disoriented you. It made you question your own instincts. It made you wonder whether you had imagined the connection, whether you had been too hungry for tenderness and therefore saw destiny where there was only a temporary visitor. But listen to me carefully. Your capacity to feel deeply was not the mistake. The mistake was believing that someone else's inability to honor depth meant your depth had no value. A person can stand before a garden and still not know how to care for living things. That does not make the garden excessive. It only reveals the limitation of the hands that entered it. There is a memory in you where you learned to reduce your needs before anyone accused you of having too many. You learned to ask for less closeness, less reassurance, less consistency, less tenderness. You learn to wait for crumbs and call them signs. You learn to read silence like scripture, searching for hidden meaning in what was often only avoidance. And slowly, without realizing it, you began to treat your longing as something that needed to be managed instead of honored. This is where the wound grew deeper. In the quiet betrayal of yourself afterward, you became the woman who understood everyone else's fear while ignoring her own pain. You became the safe place for others, even when no one was becoming safety for you. And yet, I do not say this to blame you. I say it to bring you back with compassion. You were not foolish. You were trying to keep love alive with the tools you had. You were trying to survive the coldness without becoming cold. You were trying to prove that your heart was worth staying for, when the truth is, your heart never should have had to audition for presence. Now, breathe into the part of you that still carries the unanswered ending. Let it soften, not because the past was acceptable, but because you no longer need to live inside the moment when it failed you. You are allowed to leave the hallway where you kept listening for footsteps that did not return. You are allowed to set down the teacup, open the blinds, and let the evening light touch the room without asking whether someone else will come to witness it. Your life is not a shrine to who could not love you well. Your soul is not an abandoned house. It is a sacred home being restored from within, slowly, carefully, with every honest breath you take. And there is something waiting here for you, something beyond the old ache, beyond the names. You no longer say the years when you wondered whether tenderness had passed you by. What is meant for you will not require you to disappear in order to be chosen. Uh, what is true will not punish you for needing care. What is sacred will not make you beg for warmth. I am here. You are not walking alone. Something beautiful is on its way. There is a longing in you that you have tried to make respectable, because somewhere along the years, you were taught that wanting too much warmth could make you appear fragile, needy, or unfinished. So you learn to disguise the ache beneath maturity. You called it peace when it was really restraint. You called it independence when it was often a loneliness that had learned good manners. You told yourself that you were fine alone, and there is truth in that. Because you have survived seasons that would have made many hearts close forever. But being able to survive without tenderness does not mean your soul was created to live without it. There is a difference between solitude that nourishes you and silence that slowly erases your softness. I know you know that difference. You have sat in quiet rooms where nothing was wrong, yet something inside you felt unbearably absent. You have moved through evenings when the house was clean, the day was finished, the world was calm, and still a hidden part of you wanted one gentle presence beside you, uh, not to fix anything, not to demand anything, but simply to be there with a love steady enough to let your nervous system rest. You may not, admit this longing to many people, because people, often, misunderstand the sacred hunger of a woman who has lived through disappointment. They think longing means desperation, when sometimes It is only the soul remembering what it was made to receive. They think a woman who wants to be loved must be incomplete, when sometimes she is already whole, but tired of holding her wholeness alone. You do not want someone to rescue you from life. You have already rescued yourself more times than anyone knows. You do not want to be possessed, controlled, or made smaller. You want a love that recognizes the country of your heart and enters it with clean hands. You want someone who notices the pauses in your voice, the weariness behind your smile, the way you become quiet when old wounds brush against new moments. You want to be understood before you have to explain. You want to be chosen without becoming a performance, and maybe saying that even here inside yourself makes something tremble because you have spent so long um, um, pretending the desire was not still alive. Stay a moment more, my love, because the longing you carry is not your enemy. It is a messenger from the deepest part of you, asking you to stop confusing numbness with freedom. There were years when you believed the safest thing was to need less affection, need less reassurance, need less emotional presence, need less tenderness in the morning, less thoughtfulness at night, less honesty in moments that mattered. You reduce yourself until your own heart could barely recognize its reflection. But longing kept returning, not to torment you, but to remind you that your soul still believes in being met. Even after everything, something in you still knows there is a kind of love that does not bruise the place it touches. There is a kind of closeness that does not make you anxious. There is a kind of man, a kind of presence, a kind of destiny that does not ask you to become less intuitive, less emotional, less deep, less alive. Your longing is not proof that you are missing something shameful. It is proof that your inner world is still awake. I feel the way you sometimes stand at the edge of hope, looking at it as though it belongs to younger women, easier women, women whose hearts were not shaped by so many private storms. Um, you wonder whether the season for being cherished has passed, whether your best chances were hidden somewhere behind you, whether life gave you lessons instead of love, and now expects you to be grateful for wisdom alone. But I do not believe wisdom was meant to replace tenderness. I believe wisdom was meant to protect tenderness until it could finally be received by what is worthy. Your years did not disqualify you. Your lines, your silence, your carefulness, your depth, your tired eyes, your patient strength, all of it has made you more real, not less lovable. The world may celebrate what is untouched, but the soul recognizes what has been transformed. And love that is meant for your soul will not be confused by your history. It will not stand before your past and ask why you still feel. It will understand that every scar is a doorway where compassion must enter slowly. So tonight, let yourself admit it without apology. You still want something beautiful. You still want to feel a message arrive and sense that someone thought of you with tenderness. You still want a hand that does not rush you, a voice that does not harden when you reveal pain, a presence that stays even when you are not shining. You still want the simple miracles, tea shared in quiet, Dusk softening a room, footsteps returning instead of leaving, a heart that says stay without forcing you to ask. And more than anything, you want to feel safe being soft again. This is not weakness. This is resurrection. The part of you that longs is the part that did not let disappointment, um, become your final language. Let it breathe, let it rise, let it tell the truth. Something is moving toward the woman, uh, who finally stops denying her own heart. And when that beauty comes, may it not frighten you away from yourself. May you recognize it not by intensity, but by peace. May you know it by the way your chest loosens, the way your thoughts stop begging for proof, the way your body whispers that at last it no longer has to prepare for abandonment. You deserve that calm. You always did, dear heart. Now I am here. You are not walking alone. Something beautiful is on its way. There comes a sacred hour in a woman's life when she can no longer keep negotiating with what has revealed itself. Not because she becomes harsh, but because her soul understands that peace is also a form of truth. You spent years translating distance into mercy, trying to soften what hurt you so it would not feel like rejection. You made room for confusion, fear, silence, and the inability to meet you with open hands. Listen gently, my love. Understanding someone's limitation does not mean you must keep living inside it. Compassion is holy, but it was never meant to become a cage. Surrender does not mean giving up on love. It means giving up the belief that love must be proven by suffering. It means letting the old story loosen its hands from your throat. It means admitting with tears that what did not choose you fully cannot be the altar where you keep placing your worth. There is a quiet hallway inside you, listening for footsteps that would make everything make sense. You waited for tenderness, explaining why you endured absence. You waited for the past to become kinder before you allowed yourself to leave it. Sometimes closure is your own spirit whispering, I cannot keep abandoning myself here. Even freedom can ache when you love the prison. I know how carefully you have held the pieces. You did not want bitterness to become your face. You did not want disappointment to make you cruel. You did not want to stop believing in beauty because someone mishandled your tenderness. So you carried the story with dignity. You kept the teacup set steady when your hands wanted to shake. You let dusk fall through the blinds and pretended the room was quiet, not lonely. You walked across the tile and heard your footsteps, a reminder that you had become both the one who left and the one who waited. This is the hidden courage no one praises enough to continue without letting pain distort your essence. No, no, no. Another courage is rising. The courage to stop protecting a wound from truth. The truth is not here to punish you. It is here to return you to yourself. It may say that you were loved less carefully than you deserved. It may say that you confused intensity with intimacy, potential with presence, longing with destiny. It may say that your heart kept blessing a door never built to open. Let those words land softly. They are not accusations. They are lanterns along the path so you can see where you are standing. Once you see, you do not have to hate anyone to walk away inwardly. You do not have to erase the good memories. You only have to stop giving the past permission to decide how much love can still find you. What happened was real, but not final. Stay a moment more because something inside you is ready to unclench. You can feel it, can't you? That quiet part of you is tired of replaying, wondering, asking whether you were too much or not enough. You were never too much for what was meant to recognize you. You were never not enough for a love capable of depth. The wrong hands made you question your heart, but destiny does not ask you to become a smalzer before it meets you. Destiny asks you to become honest, honest about what you need, honest about what you will no longer call love, honest about the difference between patience and self-erasure, honest about the ache beneath your strength. This honesty is not a wall. It is where your future begins to trust you. Let surrender be quiet. Let it happen in ordinary places. Let it happen while you wash a cup, close a drawer, turn off a lamp, or sit beside a window as evening gathers blue silence. You do not need a dramatic sign to know you are changing. Sometimes the soul shifts in the smallest decision, no longer checking, no longer reaching toward what keeps leaving, no longer addressing old pain in sacred language. Something in you has prayed long enough at the edge of absence. Now the prayer is different. It is no longer, please let them see me. It is, please help me see myself clearly. It is no longer, please bring back what I lost. It is, please prepare me to receive what aligns with who I have become. The woman you have become is not empty. She is not late. She is not ruined by the years behind her. She is ripened by them, deepened by them, made luminous in a way only the soul can understand. There is a softness returning now, but not the old softness that gave itself away without discernment. This softness has wisdom. This tenderness has a spine. This hope has boundaries. You are allowed to want love and still require peace. You are allowed to be open and selective. You are allowed to forgive and still not return to the place that taught you to disappear. The special thing prepared for you cannot enter fully while both hands are holding what broke them. Open, slowly release by your gently. Nothing true will be lost by your letting go. I am not asking you to stop feeling. I am asking you to stop mistaking pain for proof of connection. I am not asking you to close your heart. I am asking you to let it face the right direction. There is love ahead that will not need your suffering to become meaningful. There is a peace ahead that will not feel like emptiness. There is a version of you ahead who wakes one morning and realizes the axe has become a doorway, not a dwelling. Until then, breathe with me. Let truth hold you without shame. Let destiny rearrange what grief could not explain. I am here. You are not walking alone. Stay with now, with that truth now, very gently. Beloved, something beautiful is on its way. Come back to the center of yourself, my love, not the version shaped by other people's hunger, not the version trained to be useful, pleasant, forgiving, available, and quiet. But the woman beneath all that careful surviving, There is a place inside you untouched by every disappointment, a holy center that was never abandoned, even when you felt left behind. You may have forgotten how to stand there because life kept uh, pulling you toward uh, everyone else's needs. Someone needed your understanding. Someone needed your strength, your listening, your warmth, your ability to hold a room together while your own inner room went dark. And because you loved deeply, you answered. You became reliable. You became graceful under pressure. You became the one who did not fall apart, uh, not because nothing hurt, but because falling apart seemed like a luxury no one had made space for. But now I want you to hear this with your whole soul. You were never born merely to endure. You were born to be cherished by yourself first, so deeply that anything less than reverence feels unfamiliar to your spirit. For so long, you measured your worth through the way others responded to you. If they stayed, you felt chosen. If they pulled away, you searched yourself for what had become too much. If they were silent, you wondered which part of your heart had asked for too much warmth. If they loved you inconsistently, you tried to become easier, softer, less demanding, less visible in the places where your needs were alive. But your worth was never waiting inside another person's decision. It was not hidden in a reply, a promise, a ring, a return, a confession, or a moment of regret from someone who finally understood what they lost. Um, your worth existed before anyone saw you, before anyone wounded you, before anyone made you doubt the beauty of your own presence. It exists now, even on the days you feel tired, older, quieter, less radiant than you once imagined you would be. The soul does not lose value because the body changes. The heart does not become less sacred because it has been broken. You are not a faded woman. You are a deepened woman. Stay a moment more, because this is where something begins to return to you. Not the old performance of confidence, not the mask that says you need nothing, but the quiet authority of a woman who has finally stopped asking pain to define her. You can bless what taught you and still refuse to be ruled by it. You can remember who failed you and still not build your identity around being failed. You can acknowledge the empty rooms, the quiet tea hallways, the dusk through the blinds, and still choose to open the windows of your own life again. Worth does not shout. Worth does not chase. Worth does not stand outside locked doors, pleading to be recognized. Worth comes home, sits down inside the body, and says softly but firmly, I will not abandon myself for belonging anymore. Let that sentence settle into your bones. Let it become a new prayer. Let it replace the old fear that you must be endlessly understanding to be loved. There is a sacred difference between becoming hard and becoming whole. Hardness says no one will ever touch me again. Wholeness says, whoever touches my life now must do so with care. Hardness closes every door, because one door wounded you. Wholeness learns which doors deserve your hand. You are not being asked to become, coldness was never your truth. You know, Your gift has always been warmth, but now your warmth must have guardians. Your compassion must have boundaries. Your tenderness must have a home inside you before it becomes a gift placed in anyone else's hands. This is not selfish. This is spiritual maturity. Even a candle needs protection from the wind if it is going to keep giving light. You have spent years being the candle in other people's darkness. Now you are learning that your flame also deserves shelter. You do not have to prove your goodness by letting everyone near what is sacred. Maybe there is still a part of you that whispers, but what if I am too late? What if the beautiful thing already passed? What if destiny forgot the woman who kept waiting quietly? Listen, beloved, time has not stolen your miracle. Time has been teaching you how to recognize it without betraying yourself. The love meant for the woman you are now could not have safely arrived when you were still apologizing for your needs. It could not have stayed in a home where you kept giving the best room to people who only visited when lonely. It could not have rested in your life while we're still calling inconsistency mysterious. Uh, while you were still confusing longing with loyalty, while you were still making excuses for the absence that kept wounding you. The delay was not punishment, it was preparation. The waiting was not emptiness. It was the soul clearing space for something that does not require you to shrink. So reclaim yourself gently. Reclaim your mornings, your reflections, your laughter, your right to want beauty, without shame. Reclaim the parts of you that were hidden so others would not feel challenged by your depth. Reclaim your softness, but let it return with discernment. Reclaim your voice not as a weapon, but as a bell that tells the truth. Reclaim your body from every gaze that made you feel invisible, and bless it for carrying you through years no one fully witnessed. Reclaim your heart from old rooms where it kept waiting for footsteps, and invite it into the present, where breath still enters, where light still moves, where grace still knows your name. I am here. You are not walking alone. Something beautiful is on its way. Stay here with me for this final breath of the journey. Um, not because anything is ending, but because something within you is arriving. There is a quiet place beyond all the waiting, beyond the rooms where your heart sat alone, beyond the old hallways where footsteps once sounded like hope and then faded into silence. You have walked so far through your own becoming, that you may not recognize the woman standing here now. She is not the same woman, who apologized for needing tenderness. She is not the same woman who mistook emotional distance for mystery, or believed love had to hurt in order to feel meaningful. She has crossed through memory, longing, surrender, and worth. And now she stands at the threshold of a softer destiny, carrying herself like someone sacred, not someone forgotten. This is where love changes its language. It no longer comes to you as chaos, dressed in intensity. It no longer arrives as a storm that makes your nervous system confuse fear with passion. It does not ask you to decode silence, chase warmth, or become smaller so someone else can feel powerful. The love meant for you now will feel quieter, but deeper. It will feel like a room where the lights are low and nothing in you has to perform. It will feel like a voice that does not rush your healing, a presence that understands why your heart sometimes hesitates before opening. It will not punish you for the doors you had to close. It will not envy your strength or exploit your softness. It will meet you with reverence because destiny never mishandles what it has taken so long to prepare. And before that love stands before you in another person, it must first stand alive within you. This is the emotional union your soul has been waiting for. The union between the woman who survived and the woman who is ready to receive. For years, those two parts of you lived apart. One kept watch at the doorway, guarding against disappointment. The other sat inside with a trembling teacup, still dreaming of hands gentle enough to stay. Now they are meeting. The guarded woman is learning she does not have to protect you through fear anymore. The tender woman is she does not have to beg to be safe. They are becoming one breath, one home, one sacred center. This is how destiny begins inside the body, not with noise, but with integration. I know you may still wonder when the special thing will arrive, what face it will wear, what moment will reveal it, what sign will prove that life has not forgotten you. But listen closely. Something has already arrived. You have arrived. The woman who wants every shadow for proof of being chosen is beginning to choose herself with a calm that cannot be taken away. And because of that, the world around you must change. Not all at once, not with dramatic thunder, but through subtle rearrangements. A conversation that feels different. A door that opens without force. A peace in your chest when you stop reaching backward. Um, uh, a sudden understanding that what is meant for you will recognize you without needing to be persuaded. This does not mean you will never ache again. It means the ache will no longer be your master. There may still be evenings when dusk slips through the blinds and old feelings rise like dust in golden light. There may still be quiet rooms where memory sits beside you. There may still be days when your strength feels tired, when your reflection carries the years, when your heart asks whether tenderness can truly find a woman who has waited this long. In those moments, place your hand over your own heart and remember, waiting did not make you less worthy. Aging did not make you less beautiful. Surviving did not make you less soft. Are not behind the story. You are the story of finally remembering its sacred direction. The love coming towards you, whether through another soul, through your own restored spirit, or through life itself, will not need to erase your past. It will bless the road that brought you here. It will seize the woman who kept giving when she was empty, the woman who forgave when no apology fully arrived, the woman who's of tenderness and beneath layers of silence. It will understand that your peace is precious because it was earned. And when real tenderness reaches you, you will not have to collapse into it. You will not have to surrender your identity to keep it. You will stand there whole, open, wise, and loved, able to receive without disappearing. So let The old rooms become temples, not tombs. Let the hallway become a passage, not a prison. Let the trembling teacup become a symbol of how delicately you held yourself when no one else knew what you were carrying. Let the voice you once waited to hear, saying stay, become the voice of your own soul, saying, I am staying with you now. This is the special thing being prepared, not only a love outside you, but a love within you, strong enough to recognize its reflection when it comes. Stay open, but do not abandon yourself. Stay soft, but do not hand your softness to careless hands. Stay hopeful, not because life has been easy, but because your heart remains capable of wonder. I am here with you in this breath, in this quiet, in the unseen place where your soul has always been known. You are not walking alone. You never were. Something beautiful is not only on its way, something beautiful has already begun in you. Trust the quiet miracle of this return, because every breath you take from this place teaches your future how to find you gently, faithfully, withal, for forcing open what now opens by grace in the right time, with the right hands, softly and tenderly.